All right. Well, I see where several people have been using the recording. I don't know if, like, do you find yourself going back and rewatching a class, or do you find yourself drawn more towards the, shorter, like, move specific videos?
I use the move specific videos.
That's what I would do if it were me.
Yeah.
Have you found any of the move specific videos to be confusing, or, like you wish something else was there?
No, they're clear.
Okay, good.
Now, the benefit of the class long is I'm looking forward to that when the class is over,
Uh-huh.
that I can just go back and continue
And
doing
redo
it.
it. Well, I hope that there will be another opportunity to have another class, and
Okay.
even if the interest is there, dive into, the advanced movements or further. But I made the decision to back up and just really stay in our basic 6, so that we didn't feel like we did a whole lot, but we weren't comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of time to do it. This has been my first experience teaching a virtual class. So I've learned a lot from the first time. I didn't even know about recording a class on our very first time together. So I've learned a lot in the short amount of time. But I'm definitely willing to keep doing it. I've really enjoyed it.
Yes, I need to look
And
forward to it.
I know it's typically either been you and Faye or both of us. And I've just enjoyed that one-on-one or, small group, the connection that we make, because if we had too many people, it would just be overwhelming. And so that I've learned that I want to keep it small. I mean, I wouldn't want any
Okay.
more. I really wouldn't want any more than 3, but I think I could do 5.
Okay.
But no more than that. So I always appreciate feedback, because I know I don't have all the answers about it. So, but I do want to be better at it. So just know
Okay.
that I'm not going to take it the wrong way. You know, I receive it as constructive criticism, not to be hurtful or mean towards me. So
Yeah.
I don't believe that you have it in you to be mean to me. You might be mean to someone else, but I don't
I
think
try not to be mean.
I try not to be either, but people will push your buttons. I taught this morning. I was coming into town, and there's this road that kind of feeds into the road I was on, and it's done like a Y, so you're just, there was no one behind me, but that vehicle got right in front of me. And I was talking to my husband at the time. I said, that's why people shoot people. There was no one behind me. There was no reason they had to pull right in front of me. So people will push your buttons and try to make you. All right, well, let's get started. And if I see Miss Faye come in, then, I put that on recording. That's going to be out there about shooting people. I really wouldn't shoot people. I don't even have a gun. It'll go out in the internet. If I ever try to get a job one day, they'll find it out there in YouTube land where I talked about shooting people. And it'll be held against me. Oh, well, maybe I'll be retired by then. All right, well, we'll just warm up as we wait for our friend to join us. And I had the heater running in here before we got started, so it kind of warm things up. This room is like one of the coldest. Now I know what I've done. I haven't pinned myself. Am I a tiny little picture?
No, you're full.
Now I'm big. Okay. I just knew there was something that I wasn't doing right because I couldn't see myself as well. All right. So let's start with our warm-ups, thinking about our body awareness with our feet about shoulder width apart, our weights on both legs. We have that good posture. Oh, most importantly, we're remembering to breathe, keep that good oxygen going through our bodies. And we want to experience that reducing stress benefit of Tai Chi and reducing of any anxieties, depression, just breathing and finding calm in our moment can help with that. And that's definitely something Tai Chi gives us. So here we go. Let's start with our neck. We bring those hands up, palms down towards our chin and chest. Push away and follow those hands all the way down. I like to inhale as I come up and then exhale whenever I'm ready to exhale. Just repeating slow, smooth, and continuous as we go through our motions. Our other movement starts out the same way. We drop one hand and follow the other towards our shoulder, feeling a little tension there. Coming back to the front, switching. And remember, it doesn't matter which side you go to now, whether it's right or left. We just go to the next side next. So that's why I stay turned around facing you, because right and left really doesn't matter in the warm-ups. I get a little lost on this exercise because my neck, it just feels so good on my neck. All right, now for our shoulders, we put our hands to our side and we're going to draw little circles as we roll our shoulders forward and then roll our shoulders back. This helps reset our posture whenever we roll those shoulders back, as a reminder to keep those shoulders back and have not be slumping over and holding tension. A little massage you give yourself. Now for our other shoulder warm up, we bring our hands up, palms up, and then push down and front. I like to inhale as I come up, exhale as I push down at my own pace, because our lungs are all different. So we want to listen to our bodies. Let's do one more. All right, let's grab our ball and work on our spine, separating the heavens and the earth. Push down towards the ground and up towards the ceiling, stretching that spine vertically. Come back to the ball and switch. So you just stop me anytime that you need any kind of clarification of any of these movements. It's no problem at all. I want to make sure that I haven't unsaid something. Or I know sometimes I'll say something that maybe doesn't make any sense or goes against what I've said before, not on purpose, just my brain and my mouth don't always have a meeting before before things happen. long I get to blame COVID for my brain parts, but I seriously lose track of words sometimes. And I don't remember that happening before I had COVID. So it has to be something. All right, let's take that ball and take it for a ride side to side. So we warm up, stretch that spine horizontally.
Do I stop in the middle with that one?
I typically stop when I get from the side to the side, isn't it? And it's not really even a stop, because remember, we're thinking slow, smooth, and continuous. Just the hand that's on top, and I always start in the middle, but the hand that's on top tells us the direction we're going. So if this hand is on top, I'm going that way. Whoops, my palms are facing, and I go this way, then I switch. Now this hand's on top, so I'm going that way here.
Okay.
You know, it almost feels like you're elbowing somebody, you know, it's that lead arm is that directive here.
Okay, I had been doing it the opposite.
That's okay. If you do it this way, it feels
Different.
It may not feel different, but maybe I'll get it. This to go this way feels like I'm opening up versus going this way. You see, I've closed myself off. And so we're opening, switching, and opening. And so I never really stop. It's just when I get to that area above that leg, I go ahead and switch my hands and then start moving. So always thinking slow, smooth, and continuous as you go side to side. Remember, this is that introductory movement of waving hands in clouds. And so, you know, when we do waving hands in clouds, as soon as we get here, we're switching. Oftentimes we don't see waving hands in clouds from the front because I turn around, because direction or left and right matter. But it's, my hand is, for waving hands in clouds, my hand is down, and it's engaged versus just flapping around down here. So my hand's down, palm down, hands engaged, hands across my body. There's me opening up, just like here, opening up, here, switch. So it's that exact movement, torso-wise, as waving hands in clouds, as the spine warm-up, because my torso is going like this, side to side. It's just my hands are doing something different. But the goal is to do it slow, smooth, and continuously. So when I get to the end right here, I already start moving those hands to switch, and then start moving back to the other side. That will, the smoothness of that movement comes with time and practice. So in the beginning, when you're learning, you're thinking, okay, what's this hand do next? Okay, what's this hand do next? Okay, you know, did I go too far? Am I at the right spot? You know, that's what's going through your head when you're first learning. So once you get the feeling that way over here, that's wrong, because you feel the tension in your spine, you know you're only going that far. Small side to side movement of your torso, then you can work on the smoothness of the movement. I know this hand, as it comes across, it's fixing to come down. This one comes up. So the smoothness of it comes with time after practice. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So I just never want anybody to feel bad, because I know I've had people say, but mine doesn't look like you. Well, that's okay. You don't have to look like me. You don't have to look like Miss Faye. Well, where'd she go? I accepted her, but then she disappeared. Anyway, there she is. You don't have to look like Miss Faye. Y'all both started at the same time, but y'all's Tai Chi will look different, and that's okay. As long as you go back and revisit the principles of movement control, slow, smooth, and continuous, not doing anything to cause tension, keeping that upright posture, holding your weight in a stable manner, it looks different from person to person, because person to person, we all look different. You know, I have an instructor that she certifies me. Her name's Jocelyn, and she's really tall. So her movements look very different than me because I'm really not tall. I'm really short. So when I take a step forward, it may be this much. And when she takes a step forward, hers may be this much. But that's comfortable for her. But if I try to match her exact, then I wear myself out. I tell you this because I did it. I was matching her exact steps in class, and I was wearing myself out. And that was years ago when I first started. It's harder probably to do in virtual land because you don't see it the same way. But just know and be comforted in the fact that your Tai Chi will look different than mine, even keeping the same movements and principles. And always forgive yourself of that. Don't feel like you're failing just because it doesn't look like me or Dr. Lamb or whoever. So always give your self permission to be where you are and grow from there. Even if you're in choppy movement land, that's the way it is in the beginning when you're first learning, and that's okay. All right, so Miss Faye, we've done our neck, we've done our shoulders, and then our spine. We've been really talking about that spinal movement and how it's like waving hands in clouds, and also that the hand that's on top is your guiding direction. So when this hand is on top, I'm going that way. And then I switch, and now I go back that way. So the hand on top gives you direction. And that's in the spinal warm-up, which is just like, well, very similar to the waving hands in clouds movement, because it's a torso movement. The hands just go along for a ride, whether they're waving hands in clouds or whether they're holding a ball. The hands are just there for the ride. It's your body that's actually moving them. All right. Now to our hips. So with our hips, we are going to be shifting our weight to one leg. We put our heel forward and our hands come back. I like to pause in the middle and then take my toe back, hands forward, keeping that leg down like a kickstand to help widen my stance where I'm more stable, versus if I were to put my foot back here, I'm not as stable. I mean, you see me wobbling there, but that widens my stance, just like if my feet are here versus here. So that kickstand is a way to help us be more stable in this stance. So we have our heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, toe back, hands forward. Making effort to keep our bodies upright. We don't want to lean with our movement, because leaning could be falling, and that's what we're against in Tai Chi. trying to not fall. All right, bring that foot to the middle or side by side. We'll shift the weight to this leg now, and then heel forward, hands back, pause, toe back, hands forward. It's like a leg swing. So, you know, that's a lot to ask of that stable leg to hold our weight that whole time. Any questions about that one?
Now, am I supposed, I feel a pull in my hip when I do that, when I put my leg back, like the kickstand. Is that
Okay,
normal,
so
or am I doing it right?
When your foot is back, which hip is pulling for you? The leg that's back or the stable leg?
The leg that's back.
The leg that's back. Can you?
Am I doing it too far back?
Huh?
Is it probably going too far back?
That's what I was going to say. If you play with the placement, so yes, straight back is going to make you a little off because it's like having your feet side by side, but maybe you're going too far out of a kickstand. You know, try
Okay.
bringing it in. The main thing is that you feel stable. If you feel stable with your leg more straight back, that's not a problem. The problem would be if you felt unstable. So play with that placement and see what feels better for you, or if you have a place where it's not pulling.
Okay.
Also, you could try keeping a little bend in your knee. So let's say if you have that, let me turn to the side. So if you put your foot back, you see there's still that bend in my knee versus straight back.
Okay.
See that difference? So if you have it in a little further, but your knee's bent versus straight back where your leg is straight, that lock joint will cause you a little stress. It's probably different from person to person, but we try with Tai Chi not to ever lock our joints. But I could see where you maybe accidentally are doing that, because if you're seeing it from this angle and I'm putting it back, you brought that to my attention. My leg is less bent when I put that foot back into a kickstand, but I feel it if I keep that little bit of bend, then there is less stress on that leg in general. So just play with that and see if you find that to be helpful.
Okay.
Miss Faye, you're on mute. You may be purposely on mute, and that's okay. I just want you to, if you have a question, to make sure that you're not muted. Okay, it's fine if you want to stay on mute. I don't have a problem with it. All right, so let's go to that other leg, thinking about a soft bend in our leg and seeing if that's helpful. Shifting that weight, heel forward, hands back, pausing in the middle, toe back, hands forward. And you probably have one hip that may be a little tighter than the other. I know whenever I do this warm-up stretch, that stable leg starts screaming at me. So it's like, okay, like, I don't want to hold your weight anymore, ma'am. That, I think that was 3. I think that's plenty. Let's go to the other side and let that leg have a turn, holding your weight. So, you know, I say play around with it, but don't play around with it so much that you're causing yourself harm or that you're causing yourself pain. you know, because we do get sore if we do that too much. So just be aware
Okay.
of those things too, not to overdo it.
I think I overdid it the other day. I was trying to practice it, and I
Uh-huh.
wound up with my right hip being sore.
It'll happen. And we don't realize it until usually a day or two later that we overdid it.
Okay.
That's when soreness really does set in. So if you do get sore, what can we do? What have we learned in our cool downs of what we can do when our muscles are sore to break up lactic acid?
Beat it.
Beat it. That's right. So if you have something that's sore, just give it a little soft fist bump or punch, and that can help break up the soreness of the lactic acid. So if it's around your hip, you know, make that circle around that hip, back. You know, all these muscles are connected to each other. So you can even go back to your gluteus back here. All these muscles, like I said, are connected. It may even be where you get a chair, put your leg up and beat your thigh. And this is your hamstring on the bottom of your, on the back of your leg, because these muscles are obviously connected to your hip muscles, or the muscles that surround your hips. So that if they're tight and sore, that can affect your hip being tight and sore. So that's kind of outside of Tai Chi class, only because I'm knowledgeable about physiology and exercise because I do it myself. But it helps me be helpful in Tai Chi to have an understanding of my physiology so that I can help you. So yeah, a little lactic acid beat can help with the soreness. All right, so that's for our hips. Now we're going to shift our weight from one leg to the other, having that stable stance. We have our hands stacked, and we take those hands in the direction of the weight shift, tapping that foot out, foot back, shift, tap, back, switch, shift, tap, back, switch. So our effort to make it more smooth. And I have that soft bend in my legs right there. Whoops, I'm doing the other. Soft bend in that leg to help me be more stable in my stance. Shift, tap, shift, tap. Side to side, shifting the weight, keeping that body upright, not leaning into the movement is our goal. All right, now for our knees. So we have our loose fist down by our hips. We shift the weight, tap that toe out, punch opposite hand, bring the foot back, shift the weight, lift, tap and punch. You see that little balance recovery there. Shift, lift, tap and punch, bring the foot back, shift, lift, tap and punch. See my body upright. I'm not leaning. When I shift the weight, my body stays up. Now we have the other knee exercise where we take a small step forward, shift, step, heel, toe, shift the weight to that front, bring it back, feet side by side, shift, step, heel, toe, shift and punch, bring it back, side by side, shift, step, shift, back, side by side, shift, step, shift, back, side by side. Now for our ankles, shift, heel, toe, rocking that foot. Shift the weight back, heel, toe, heel, toe. And then big toe, little toe. So now side to side. Let me back up. Side to side. And this is another great example of not everybody's movement is going to look the same. Your ankle may not be as flexible as my ankle, and that comes with practice. I know we've talked about, can you do the splits? Can y'all do the splits? I cannot do the splits. But if I worked every single day to do the splits, eventually I would be able to. So flexibility takes time. It's just, unless you're what, the 5-year-olds, they all can do the splits pretty much. I think they're just naturally flexible at that age. So you know, flexibility is different from person to person, and it depends on how much you work with it. And any questions about those?
No.
No. All right. Here we go on our basic 6. So I hate to do things like mention next week is our last class, but next week is our last virtual class, at least for a while, until we can figure out. I'm having to take over another person's class that's leaving her job. And so I'll keep you in the loop if it's something that we want to continue to do. I know I made up this time 10 o'clock because we talked about this. I've never done it before, so I just threw a time out there, you know, Tuesday at 10 o'clock. So if other times would work, you know, we can see what we can work out. But I say next week is the last week. It doesn't mean like gone forever. You can never call me again. It's not like that. You can never take my class again and still call me and ask me anything you want to ask me about Tai Chi or, you know, anything else. If you want a good recipe, you always feel free to call me. But what I want to say about next week is be thinking if there's anything in particular you want addressed, any clarifications of any of the movements. I know this is the same thing for every week, but just take full advantage of next week, anything that you need to ask. So be thinking about that this coming up week. All right, with that said, let's go over our commencement movement. From the front, we talk about just the hands, where we have our hands to our side. We bring our hands up facing each other, back down towards our bodies, coming back up, out, and back in. So I'm going to turn to the side. We bring our hands up. Remember that soft bend in the elbow, back down towards our bodies, up, out, and back. You have the option of wrist movements, where our wrist fingers are pointed more towards the ground here, towards the ceiling here, out, and then back up. That gets us ready for open and close. So that's the hand movement of commencement. One more time, then we'll go to our feet, up, down, open and close. All right, so the footwork is a step forward. So we have weight on both legs, stable stance. We shift the weight to our right leg. We step with our left. We shift left and we bring that right foot forward. Again, start with the stable stance, weight on both legs, shift right, step left, heel toe, shift left, bring that right foot forward. All right, hands and feet together. When our hands come up, nothing's happening with our legs. It's when our hands come down that we shift the weight to that right leg. I step left, bring those hands in and up. Shift left as my hands go out. Right foot forward, hands come back. Open and close. Let me turn to the side. When we do commencement, we come up, nothing's happening with our legs. Shift, step, shift, step, open and close. Weight on both legs, hands come up. Shift weight to that right as those hands go down. Step left, bring those hands close, up. Shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. All right, let's do it a few times without talking and commence. Open and close. Again, commence. Open and close. So if you notice, whenever I shift that weight to that right leg, I kind of sit into that leg. I'm sitting into that right leg as I step, shift here. Commence, up, down. Open and close. So to acknowledge the choppiness of the movement when we first learn, we're going up, nothing happened with our legs. We're going down, shift the weight. We're stepping, we're bringing our hands in and up. Then we're shifting as our hands go out. Then we're bringing that right foot forward, hands come back. So that's the choppiness of it. But of course, our goal is to be more slow, smooth, continuous, particularly smooth and continuous on this. We're pretty much mastered slow. So here we go. Trying to be more smooth and continuous with our movement so we never really stop. We immediately go to that next thing. So here we go, commence. Open and close. So it's okay to be choppy, but our goal is to try to make it more smooth and continuous. All right, any questions about those first two? I kind of skip over open and close, not because it's not involved and important. I mean, you watch the video that's just about open and close, and we talk about gentle resistance in treating it kind of like an accordion or a bellows. and or just allowing the breath to open when you inhale, and then exhale, they naturally close. So that open and close movement is, I don't mean to just brush over it like it's not a big deal, but go back to that video if you want to review more about open and close. You can sit and do open and close, you know, for 10 minutes, just practicing your breathing and helping yourself calm down. That's a great movement to pull out. What I like about open and close within our Tai Chi series is it's a chance to reset our bodies. So, you know, if we're in the middle of doing our movement, we've done our waving hands and clouds, we come and we go open and close, and it's a way for us to say, okay, are my feet in the right spot? Am I ready to do that next movement? Do I need to make an adjustment? And it's a good time to go, oh yeah, I need to widen that stance a little bit. That comes probably more in our advanced movements because we move so much more and it's easier to get your feet in a bad spot. You know, we talked about doing a follow step. Sometimes you might have your feet too close together, open and close, so you can make the adjustment and then go to the next move. If there is a time you feel like your feet aren't in a good spot, just put in an open and close and make the adjustment, even if it doesn't call for it. But it just helps give you a pause and a remind, check my foot placement, check my posture. Do I need to make an adjustment? All right, single whip. So from the front, the single whip, you know, we're coming from open and close, so our hands are facing each other. So whenever we shift and step out, that automatically makes our body turn. So whenever we do that arm movement of single whip, we're turned, but we push those hands out facing each other, and then we turn them away from ourselves. So we're palms facing away, and then we separate those palms, opening that chest. In the first one, our eyes are following our left hand, but we still continue to move that right one so that it opens that chest. So that's what it looks like from the front. It's push out, turn, separate, eyes follow that left hand. And I call it sync. That's whenever I've gone as far as I'm going to go. The footwork is, again, we're coming from open and close. So our weight is on both feet. We're going to shift left. We're going to step right. And when we step right, I stepped at an angle that's about 45 degrees. So shift, step. And that's why our body turns, because it follows that foot that's at that angle. It turns here. Where's my weight right now? It's on both of my legs. I have a little bit more weight on that back leg than that front leg that I stepped out with. It may be 60-40, but I don't really even understand what that means whenever I say 60-40. There's a little more weight on the back leg than the front. But you can play around with what feels best for you. Shift, step, and then I call it adjust the weight. So, you know, right now I have more 50-50 weight. There's just weight on both legs. So I'm coming from open and closed, weights on both legs. I shift left, I step out right. So I went from here, feet side by side, to here. So my heel and my bunion really are lined up. It's not the toe, it's my bunion. So it's a very, very small step. from here to here. So I shift left, I step right, adjust the weight, and then I'm going to shift left, and then bring my right foot back. I think I said the wrong direction. So scratch that. I come from open and close, my weight's on both legs. For single whip, I shift left, step right, adjust the weight, then shift left and bring the right foot back. And that gets me ready for stepping out to the side for waving hands and claps. So single whip, hands and feet. I'm coming from open and close. Single whip, shift left, step right, push, turn, separate, following that left hand as I open both, shift left, bring that right foot back and hands down. So it's almost like my hands are pulling that foot back. If there was like imaginary strings. So we have shift, step, push, turn, separate, following that left hand, shift left, bring that right foot back, hands down. And that gets us ready for waving hands and clouds. But let's put those three together. Commencement, open and close, single whip. And commence, step, up, shifting out, right foot forward, hands come back, open and close, single whip, shift left, step right, push, turn, separate, following that left hand, sink, shift left, bring that right foot back, hands down. How was that? Good?
Not bad.
Good. All right, so now we have waving hands and clouds to the right. So we're going to step to the right. Remember, we just brought that right foot back. We're stepping to the right, shift right, step left, shift left, step right, shift right, step left, shift left, step right, shift right, step left. So I took 3 steps to the side, doing a follow step. Right foot led, follow step left, right foot led, follow step left. There's the weight shift, step, shift, step, shift, step, shift. So it's 3 steps to the side. And we've already went over our waving hands and clouds movement when we did our spinal warm up. So let's put those feet and hands together and I'll talk you through it. So we had single whip for here. So we step out right, we bring that right hand up and wave right. Shift, step left, switch, wave. Shift, step, switch, wave. Shift, step, switch, wave. Shift, step, switch, wave. Shift, step, switch, wave. And then to the middle for open and close. I don't know if y'all have done it, but it always helped me to write down those words and put them on a Post-it on the wall in front of where I was doing my Tai Chi that said, all right, so we step, change hands, wave. So change, wave, shift, step, change, wave,
wave,
shift,
shift,
step.
step.
So those are your keywords. You can put switch hands or change hands. I tend to say switch, but I have written change on my Post-it note, but it's, okay, I did the single whip. All right, I step, switch, wave, shift, step, switch, wave. So the first thing you do is step. So your words are step,
Step,
switch, wave,
wave.
shift. So 4 words. Those were
Right,
always, it was just always helpful for me to write that up there for waving hands and clouds. I mean, I still have it.
Wait, step, switch, wave.
When I come back from single whip, I'm ready to start waving hands and clouds. So it's step,
Yep.
switch, wave, switch, shift, step. Wait, did I do that right? I'm turned around backwards.
Okay.
Step,
Step,
switch, wave, shift, step. There it is. Switch, wave, shift. Here it is. Step,
step,
switch,
wait,
wave,
wave.
shift, step, switch, wave, shift, step, switch,
Switch,
wave, shift, step, switch, wave. So those are your 4 words. And it starts with that step because we just got finished with single whip. Here, there it is. Step,
step,
switch,
switch,
wave,
wave.
shift.
Yeah.
Then back to the top. Step, switch, wave, shift, step, switch, wave, shift, step, switch, wave, shift, step, switch, wave. Got it? And then
Yeah.
back to the middle, open and close. So we probably just did about 17 step, switch, wave, shifts. But it's only 3 steps, 3 steps to the side. So we have that, our final one, wave, and then we come back for open and close. Now we have our single whip to the left where we shift right, step left, push, turn, separate, this time following that right hand, shift right, bring that left foot back. Now waving hands and clouds to the left, step, switch, wave, shift, step, switch, wave,
Wave,
shift,
wave,
step,
step,
switch,
switch,
wave,
wave,
shift,
wave,
step, switch,
switch,
wave,
wave,
shift. I think I'm doing an extra here. Step, switch, wave, shift, step, switch, wave to the middle for open and close. Close it out. So we have a single whip that goes to the left, or yeah, to the left, and then we wave hands and clouds to the left. We come in the middle for open and close, then we single whip and wave hands and clouds to the left, come back to the middle for open and close. And that is our basic 6 movements. So I realize it's 11:30. Are y'all good with going over all of that together a couple times and then cool down?
yes.
Okay. All right, let's do that because we were a few minutes late getting started for me talking. Imagine that. Me, a talker. It wouldn't be the same if I didn't talk, would it?
No, it would not be.
All right, so let's do the whole thing several times and I'll talk you through it. And the last time I'll do it with just calling out the movements. All right, so here we go from the top, thinking about body awareness, how we're holding our weight, our posture, and let's make sure we're breathing. Here we go and commence. Up, down, shift the weight. Step, in, up, shift as those hands go out, right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Single whip, shift left, step right, push, turn, separate, following that left hand, shift left, bring that right foot back, hands down, waving hands in clouds, step right, switch, wave, shift, step, 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 switch, wave. To the middle for open and close. Single whip, shift right, step left, push, turn, separate, following that right hand. Shift right, bring that left foot back, waving hands in clouds. Step left, switch, wave, shift, step, 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 switch, wave. To the middle for open and close. And close it out. How is that?
Except the last.
What is it?
Except the last one.
That last waving hands in clouds.
Yeah.
I like waving hands in clouds as a standalone movement. I'm not going against the series of movements that we go from commencement to open and close to waving or to single whip. I'm not going against the series of movements. That's what Tai Chi is. It's a series of movements done in a certain order. That's the definition. But I just love to just go into the moment, experience that movement, wave hands in clouds until you get to the wall, come to the middle, open and close, wave hands in the clouds until you get to the other wall. And I just feel like you really experience so much more with the Tai Chi. So there that is. So just experience that movement by itself. And then I think you'll get better and better with it. All right, so let's do it again. Here we go. From the top and commence. Up, down, shift weight. Step left, hands up, out, step forward, come back with those hands, open and close. Single whip, shift, step, push, turn, separate, shift, bring that foot back, waving hands in clouds, step, switch, wave, shift, 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 step, switch, wave, open and close, single whip, shift right, step left, push, turn, separate, following that right hand, shift right, bring that left foot back, waving hands in clouds. Step, switch, wave, shift, 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 step, switch, wave, to the middle for open and close, and close it out. So maybe that was a little better that time, and that's why we have hope that each time we'll get better. I'm going to do it one last time with only calling out the names of the movements, and this is just a tester. All right, here we go. And commence. Open and close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open and close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open and close. Close it out. Very good.
Okay.
Ready for our lactic acid beat down? I sure hope y'all don't bruise easily. But this right here can help you with sore muscles. Then we talk about tension, gathering tension, and letting it go. It feels so much better to let it go. Gather and release. Gather and release. One more. Gather tension and let it go. And then our shoulder circles up and down. One more. We have our fist that represents our strength. Our fingers straight up, that represents our friendship. And our bent in thumb, that's our humility. So we have strength, friendship, humility, and in mutual respect, we say namaste.
Namaste.
So are y'all good? You have any questions?
No, just need practice.
All right. Well, y'all, like I said, next week come, and if there's anything in particular you want to do and go over, if y'all want to spend however long just waving hands in clouds, we can do that. You know, I'm open to ideas always. Okay. All right. Well, y'all have a great day, and I'll be uploading this and sending it right your way.